Now, welcome to another Let's Talk Some Star Wars with Thor and Naboo, where we're going to be discussing the results of the poll that asked, what upcoming Star Wars show are you most looking forward to? And after that, we will, of course, be reading and responding to some of the comments left on the poll. And so, let's get to it.
Looks like we got a breakdown of the poll here. Not surprising to me, 62% went with Andor Season 2 as the thing they are most looking forward to, followed by Bad Batch Season 3 at 15%. 14% said none, 7% said The Acolyte, and 2% said Skeleton Crew. Not terribly surprised by these results. We had a huge following of Andor on this channel as well as your own. We also don't know enough about Skeleton Crew to make any sort of consensus about if it's going to be good or what it's even about.
Well, yeah, I mean, we can't know if it's going to be good or not, but we don't really know what it's going to be about exactly, other than some kids lost in space with Jude Law, who may or may not be Force sensitive.
I think he is supposed to be,
so, yeah. I don't know if that means like Jedi-like or just like Force sensitive.
These days? Everyone's a Jedi. Bad Batch, I'm not surprised that came in second.
No, I'm not surprised
second season ended really on a
second season was good
note.
Yeah.
I liked it.
Oh, incredible ending, and had some just incredible episodes in there too.
Could go any which way because Headland has said some things that people are not exactly thrilled with. So
yeah.
Again, those two things don't have trailers yet, and they're untried and untrue, so I'm not surprised that they did the worst.
No, I'm kind of surprised Acolyte did as well as it did in a weird sort of way. I could have seen that being down there more with Skeleton Crew. Not that it's like leaps and bounds ahead of it, but it is ahead of it quite a bit, actually.
Oh, yeah. By 5%.
All right, but anyway, probably move on to some comments.
Good idea.
Now, before once again just saying thank you to everybody who votes, comments, and watches these or any of the videos across both channels. Also, a huge thank you to those who support this channel on Patreon. You guys are the best. And now on to the top-rated comment.
Top comment is from David Belzer. Torn between Bad Batch and Andor. Both are great for different reasons.
Yeah, I very much agree. They're kind of on sort of different ends of the spectrum.
Right. One of them has a lot more filler episodes. It's longer in general because of the episode count.
Well, I mean more along the lines of one is kind of definitely the more geared to all audiences of all ages kind of thing with Bad Batch, even though it has some very intense episodes with Crosshair from time to time. But it is kind of it's just a different thing, and it is good for what it is.
Right.
While Andor is, of course, more geared towards that adult audience and is just really good for what it is, too.
I think Andor is more consistent at being good. It might be because there's less episodes, or because the story is so cohesive, or because they're strictly for more of an adult audience. Yeah. Whereas when you're making a show like Bad Batch, you do have to make those little funny off-out episodes now and again. Because
you don't have to.
There's a younger crowd involved.
Sure, but those could still be more... I'm okay with the quote-unquote filler episodes. I understand what it is. You can go back to Clone Wars and say it's all filler too, right? It's not exactly all on point all the time, so...
Right, there are arcs that are much better than others.
Yeah, but this is, of course, more of a one-story kind of thing. It's following the same team. It's not anthology style like Clone Wars, so I get...
Thank goodness. All in one order.
No, I like anthology style. I love Clone Wars going all over the galaxy, bouncing around to different stories. But
I'm okay with it bouncing around different stories. I don't like that the first few seasons, the timeline is all over the place.
Yeah, there are some episodes
out of order. Do not chronologically exist. That I do not care for.
Well, they exist, but they're just out of order. Some of them are. It's not too bad, but it smooths itself out after that first couple seasons.
Right.
But no, yeah, both of them for different reasons. I agree with that entirely. These would be my top two choices with Andor. Kind of just being by far what I'm looking forward to the most, gotta be honest.
I don't doubt that. Next comment from Pure Addict. Having rewatched Andor recently after watching Ahsoka et al., it just looks and feels fantastic compared to any other Disney series. It feels like a world I want to know. The scenes in the depths of Coruscant with Axis and the spy are some of the best shots ever shot by Disney.
Yeah, it's all good.
You can tell this was very well thought out, well planned. It could possibly be, because we can't forget, they were working on this during COVID, and they had he was writing, I should say. They weren't actually filming because they couldn't get together and stuff so much. But he did have a lot of extra time to plan because so many projects got delayed.
Sure.
I'm not saying he's not going to do as well in the next season. I'm hoping he can continue on with the exact same quality that was presented in the first season.
I've got a lot of confidence in Tony Gilroy. I think season 2 is going to be exceptional, even though they've kind of done the whole condensing thing, because originally the plan was 5 seasons. now the final 4 seasons are one season.
Which
and
I'll
just
be
multiple
okay
arcs.
with as long as it holds the high quality. Because if they were going to go ahead and make the 4 seasons, but at the end of it they're going to feel that burnout, kind of like you got with Game of Thrones, where you can tell they're rushing just to get it done.
Yeah.
I wouldn't want that.
Well, I think it would just take, just how long these shows take to come out, like 2 years, it seems like is kind of standard. So, I mean, another like 8 years of Andor, as much as that sounds fantastic in some ways, in another it would be like, would kind of just feel like it's taking forever to tell the story in this weird sort of way, maybe?
Right, because it would feel maybe overextended.
Yeah.
Yes.
I mean, I'd be happy, I'm sure. I'd be fine with it, but in a way, I'm not totally upset.
Yeah, well, we know what the end game is heading to. We've seen Rogue
Yeah.
One, so it maybe would just feel like they just stretched it out to stretch it out. So I'm going to be okay with this. I'm hoping it's as smooth and cohesive as it can be.
Yeah, I have a lot of confidence. I mean, I would be stunned if Andor Season 2 doesn't turn out to be pretty much on par with Season 1.
Next comment from Matthew Ledbetter. I would be excited/curious about Skeleton Crew if they would ever show us anything for it. Even though Mando Season 3 was bad, I would still like to know what happens next, since Skeleton Crew seems to be picking up the Pirates thread.
Yeah, the pirate stuff did kind of feel maybe a little out of place.
It's like they literally only inserted it because we would need it for Skeleton Crew, perhaps?
Yeah, it felt like a lot of things like that were in Mando Season 3.
It felt like they were trying to like throw a bunch of different directions in there so that going
Yeah.
forward things could make sense. It was
felt like,
too much.
Yeah, they were trying to multi-purpose that season just way too much, and it kind of feels a little disjointed.
I feel like Rangers of the New Republic was definitely somehow represented in
Yeah,
this.
I definitely think Rangers of the New Republic being canceled or whatever has happened to it officially has thrown a wrench into
It's hurt
things.
this show.
Yeah, I think so.
But
no.
yeah, we need to see
yeah.
Skeleton Crew.
100% agree. Like, if it is the next show and if it comes out in January, it's about time to start. Let's do some marketing.
We need
Right?
marketing, because if we don't know what it's about and you're not giving us enough time, we're not gonna be able to get excited about this. I mean, good news is apparently the strike might be ending this weekend.
Yeah.
It looks like they might be waiting just on formalities with lawyers, so we could be seeing the end of the strike, which will mean full steam ahead for any marketing plans that
Yeah.
a lot of projects will have.
Well, I think we Star Wars fans, you could tell me a new show is coming out tomorrow and I could hype myself up for it if it looked good. But when you have something like this that just has nothing behind it other than Jude Law and the name Star Wars, which doesn't mean what it maybe once did, you really should start, pressing the gas pedal down and getting the marketing going on this thing.
Next comment from Michael De Nicola. I know I'm in the absolute minority here, but if I had access to new episodes of Bad Batch or Skeleton Crew, I'd choose Skeleton Crew. Watching Ahsoka, I noticed not only lackluster writing, but also found the most compelling elements to be the fresh characters, scenarios, and motives. Frankly, I'm becoming weary of the recurrent tales of rebels versus the Empire or similar iterations from Imperial remnants to First Order. It's not a critique of Andor's quality, rather I crave something innovative.
No, I agree.
Oh yeah, something new, something fresh. That's what we were really hoping to see in the new galaxy.
Well, I think that's what a lot of us were kind of hoping for out of Ahsoka, it feeling more like an adventure to a new galaxy, other than you get to the new galaxy and it's like one desolate planet and really a lot of teases about what's going on, but come back for season 2 if you want answers.
Right. That was a little disappointing.
Yeah.
So I want to see something fresh and new and exciting. And, I mean, if they're taking a book out of what, like, James Cameron did with the second Avatar movie, like, when he decided to show us the underwater world of Pandora, he did it through the eyes of the children, because they're going to be able to showcase wonder and that innocence and everything so much better. If they do the same thing with the children, showing us some brand new wonders of the galaxy through the eyes of children, it will elevate it.
It could be really good. It actually, it could be that sleeper, right? Because nobody's really talking about it or expecting. It's an idea that can work. Just look at Stranger Things, right? They've talked about how it's kind of going to be similar to Stranger Things.
Amblin.
Yeah, 80s kind of nostalgia.
Yeah, Goonies, E.T., trying to give us all of those feelings. And they could manage it. They have the gumption to do it.
We hope, yeah.
We hope. We hope.
No, I think it has a lot of, I mean, just from the sound of it, because again, we haven't really seen anything from it, but from the sound of it, yeah, there's potential there to definitely surprise us, especially with no expectations, or few of them.
Next from Just Livin'. After witnessing the absolute gut punch that was the Season 2 finale of Bad Batch, I am both highly anticipating and dreading the final season. Not because I think it'll be bad, but because I know they aren't going to pull punches when it comes to possibly killing off some of the core characters.
Yeah, I would expect some surprises in this, right?
Right. I really hope we don't, like, flash into the next season and be like, oh, look, Tech was alive. The Empire just grabbed. I'm like, no, please. As horrible as it sounds, leave Tech gone. Omega
like Tech.
experiencing the loss this team is experiencing is important to their character growth. Actions have consequences. His sacrifice needs to mean something.
There you go. That is absolutely right. It needs to mean something that he gave his life, right? And they need to experience the loss of a team. Not just the loss in terms of he sticks with the Empire, like with Crosshair, but death, the loss. I think that's important for Omega going forward. But yeah, I'm hoping this season doesn't pull its punches. I'm hoping, I'm sure we'll still have some quote-unquote filler episodes like we were talking about before. It is still a kids-oriented show, kind of. So I expect it to have its moments of, oh, that was a episode, and to have those moments of heartbreak.
I think that's what's needed to keep the show being successful.
Yeah, even though it's its final season, so.
Very true.
But what comes next, of course, right? You have to keep the animated. They've scored a lot of hits with the animations, so let's end this well and move into whatever is next.
Right.
On a high note, essentially.
Next comment is from Solo. It's Acolyte for me. So far, it feels the most original, and I've absolutely loved the High Republic era so far, so I'm very hyped for that. Andor Season 2 and Bad Batch Season 3 are definitely up there, though.
I'm going to keep my fingers crossed for Acolyte, especially as someone who's... I've enjoyed aspects of the High Republic, as I've said before. Like, I think Phase 1 is much better than Phase 2.
And I've only been reading a little bit of Phase 2.
Yeah,
I haven't had time to read much of it.
Yeah, and Phase 3 is just kicking off. So it would be cool if Phase 3 kind of sticks the landing, and it's like, oh, that was pretty good. I wonder what happens next. And Acolyte can somehow stick the landing as well, essentially, and be a good show.
Well, in a way, like Skeleton Crew, it could be showing us something new on the screen.
Yes and
Something different.
It is going to deal heavily, I think, with the Sith and the Jedi and all of that. So, that that's a bad thing by any stretch.
Plus, I think there's a renaissance of, like, love for the prequels that may not have existed when they came out. Episode 1 had very mixed reviews because people didn't like Jar Jar. But it would be interesting to see how the Jedi of old behaved.
Sure. The Jedi, like, 50 years before them.
Yes.
Yeah, I think there was love for the prequels back then, obviously. I loved the prequels back then, but you are right. That generation has grown up. They have a bigger voice in the fan base. You have people who have certainly softened their stance towards the prequels. And then you have the fact that maybe the sequels were a disappointment, so some people kind of look back, maybe a little fond remembrance on George's last films.
Yes.
So there's a lot of factors, but no need to discuss that now. Let's move on to the next comment.
Next comment from TF Eric. Andor 100%. I can't wait. Bad Batch is in second place. That show is great when they don't do filler content. When it comes to the rest, I am less sure. Skeleton Crew I know nothing about, so I have neutral expectations and hope for the best. The Acolyte has me worried, as it is a time period with little Sith activity, and have heard weird things from it. Me being petty, I don't trust the showrunner from how she looks and presents herself. I should not judge a book by its cover, but I get worried.
Yeah, I think that's my biggest worry, too.
Because things have been said around the show that kind of make you go and pause a little bit. It's kind of like the Captain Marvel syndrome. That came out, Brie Larson said a bunch of crazy things, and people couldn't get past that to watch the movie.
Yeah.
Which kind of wrecks the movie.
Yeah, I wish I could just take all that out of my head and just watch it as is. And I'm going to the best of my ability. I'm usually pretty fair, I think. When I watch something, I can separate what people have said and just kind of take it for what it is. But it's not just that. It is some of the things that have been said about the actual show that do have me worried as well. This kind of idea, we've talked about it before, so I won't go deep into it, but the idea of just kind of implying the Jedi have always been kind of flawed or wrong. That, it's the ideals behind it, not necessarily the prequel Jedi that had flaws and was the reason they fell. I don't want it implied that for 25,000 years the Jedi way was wrong and we just discovered it now. I think that's just would be a silly, silly, silly thing to do.
Oh, I agree.
Yeah. All right, I think we got one more here.
Final comment is from Critter. I still hope they make another season of Visions.
Same.
I believe that it is in the works. I've heard possibly that they're going back to some of the studios in Japan who made parts of season 1 to possibly maybe move some forward.
Yep.
As well as to maybe make more just anime style for the next season and then go back to like bouncing back and forth between doing the full world and then doing Japan. Because Visions, they kind of did start that with anime.
Yeah, it was, yeah. Yeah, and along with kind of things we want another season of, like Tales of the Jedi was not on this list. I kind of went, when I did this poll, I went for just kind of like bigger projects, so I didn't include it, but certainly something a lot of people I know are looking forward to, and something I hope they expand upon.
Oh, I would love if they would expand on Tales of the Jedi.
Yeah, I want to be pleasantly surprised that season 2 is a little more than just kind of 3 episodes, 2 arcs, and, like kind of 30 minutes of content.
Right.
Maybe a little more than that, but you know what I mean.
I mean, you could get a lot out of such a short period of time, but
Yeah.
I would like to see more.
Yeah, I think it's a cool idea, and as we've discussed before, you don't need to restrain yourself or constrain yourself to certain formulaic ideas of what a show or a movie even needs to be. You can just, make something that is what it is and put it out there on Disney Plus. That's the beauty of streaming, right? You can do what you want or need to do. But anyway, I think that's all we got for you this time. Now it's your turn to take to the comments below and tell us what you're looking forward to the most and why, or why you're not looking forward to any of this. Whatever the case may be, leave those comments below. Let's talk some Star Wars, and until next time, thanks for watching.